Hello everyone, my name is Elite Trainer Kenway. Have you ever heard the phrase, the sun never sets on the British Empire? Unfortunately, the same cannot be said for the British-inspired Galarian region in the Pokemon world. Because as the sun set on the Alolan region just a few years ago, the sun will soon set on the Galarian region in just a few months as we all set sail for the new region inspired by Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. Now that got me thinking, before we wave goodbye to the Galar region and set sail for a brand new Pokemon region, are there still any mysteries left to explore? Are there still any questions left from the Galar region unanswered? Is there anything in the Galar region we still do not yet know? Now, Pokemon Sword and Shield has done a fantastic job of answering most questions we had about the Galar region and its flora and its people and its Pokemon. However, there is still one question left unanswered, and that question comes from the first ever paid DLC that Game Freak has ever introduced for the entire Pokemon franchise, the Isle of Armor DLC. And that question is actually fairly simple. Where is the legendary Pokemon Kubfu and Urshifu actually from? We know that Kubfu was brought to the Galar region by Mustard, but we know that Kubfu comes from a mountainous region somewhere far away from the Galar region. Now, it's been suspected by many a Pokemon theorists that Kubfu actually originally came from the Sinnoh region because Sinnoh has a very famous mountain range. However, we have strong evidence to support the idea that Kubfu is not actually from the Sinnoh region thanks to Pokemon Legends Arceus. In Pokemon Legends Arceus, we went back in time 300 to 500 years in the past to see Sinnoh before it was Sinnoh, to see ancient Hisui. We saw absolutely zero evidence to support the idea that Kubfu ever actually set foot in the Hisui region. However, thanks to the countless hours that I have spent tirelessly digging through one of Pokemon's earlier generations, I think I have finally found the region that Kubfu originally called home. And part of the answer can actually be found in this book right here, the official strategy guide for the Alolan region in Generation 7. As I mentioned earlier, we know that Kubfu comes from a mountainous range far away from the Galar region. But did you know that there are at least 4 mountains in the Alolan Islands? There are 3 mountains on the Ula Ula Island, but those mountains are not the ones we're interested in today. The 4th Alolan mountain, which will be used as the setting for our story today, is the 10 Carat Hill, located on the southeast corner of Melee Island in the Alolan region. And 10 Carat Hill is the original birthplace of the legendary Pokemon Kubfu. Now, if I have any hopes of convincing you that Kubfu is actually from the Alolan Islands, there are 3 things that I need to do. First, I need to establish that there is an environment in Alola suitable for Kubfu. Second, we need to uncover the event that drove Kubfu away from Melee Island in the first place. And third, since we know that Mustard is the one who brought Kubfu to the Isle of Armor, we need to try to place Mustard in the Alolan region. First, let's look at the environment on 10 Carat Hill. 10 Carat Hill has about half a dozen different species of Pokemon living on it. However, there are 3 specific species of Pokemon we're interested in today. And that would be Machop, Jangmo-o, and the Totem Hakamo-o, who all live in the same area partway up 10 Carat Hill. Now, why do I mention those 3 Pokemon in particular? Because there are 2 things we know about Kubfu. We know that Kubfu is only level 10, and we know that Kubfu is a fighting type. And one thing that remains constant throughout the entire Pokemon franchise is that Pokemon of the same typing like to stick together. This, paired with the fact that Machop and Jangmo-o are typically around level 25 to 26 on 10 Carat Hill, gives us enough reason to believe that the young, unevolved Kubfu should be able to be protected by the Machops and Jangmo-os on 10 Carat Hill. Secondly, we need to try to figure out what event took place that drove Kubfu away from 10 Carat Hill and away from the Alolan region as a whole. And for that, we actually need to look at a very surprising place for canonical Pokemon lore. The Pokemon Sun and Moon demo version that was released on the 3DS approximately 1 month before the release of Sun and Moon. Now, I already know what you're thinking. What information could the Sun and Moon demo possibly give us about Kubfu, or about anything for that matter, that's not in the full game? Well, the Sun and Moon demo actually gives us 3 key pieces of information that are not in the main game. The demo tells us that Plumeria, the admin for Team Skull, was on 10 Carat Hill, that she had a powerful Golbat we never see again, and that she was on 10 Carat Hill approximately 1 month before the events of Sun and Moon. Now, how do we know the demo took place 1 month before the events of Sun and Moon? First, the demo was released 24 days before the release of the games, and also if you go inside the Hau'oli Pokemon Center and go to the coffee shop and speak to the worker there, he will tell you that she is temporarily in charge until the shop's manager comes back in about a month. If you go back to that shop in the main games, you'll see that the shop's manager is actually there. So, do you remember a moment ago when I said that Plumeria had a powerful Golbat in the demo that we never see again? Let's talk about that Golbat. When we meet Plumeria on 10 Carat Hill in the Sun and Moon demo, she has a level 36 Golbat that only knows one move, Air Cutter. However, when we meet her again 1 month later in the main story, that level 36 Golbat is gone. In its place is a level 25 Golbat that knows to move Air Cutter but also Confuse Ray. Now again, we know that she has this level 25 Golbat a month after she had a level 36 Golbat, and we know that Pokemon simply can't forget techniques until after they've learned at least 4, so we know that these are 2 separate Golbats. So why would Plumeria get rid of her powerful Golbat for what is obviously a less powerful one? Hold on to that question for just a moment and let's see if we can't place Mustard and Honey on the Alolan Islands. So we know that after Mustard was relieved of his duties as champion of the Galar region, he decided to travel the world. And we also know that Honey originated from a region outside of Galar where she worked for a powerful tech company. Now most people believe that Honey is from the Kanto region and that she possibly worked for Selfco. However, I would like to suggest the idea for your consideration that Honey worked for the Aether Foundation and lived on the Alolan region, and that is why she has a Salazzle on her team. Now, why do I think Honey came from the Alolan Islands? Well, there are 2 reasons. First, Honey has a Salazzle on her team, which even though it can be found on Galar, as far as we know, it originated in Alola. Secondly, there's a type null that's given to you at the base of the battle tower in Galar, with absolutely no explanation as to how it got to Galar in the first place. We know that there are 3 type nulls in existence. One that belonged to Gladion, the second that belonged to the player character in Sun and Moon, and the third who inexplicably shows up in the Galar region. So it is my belief that Honey worked for the Aether Foundation, and upon learning that Aether had created a brand new Pokemon for the sole purpose of battling Ultra Beasts, Honey rescued what she believed was the only type null in existence and fled to Melee Island to escape the Aether Foundation. It was on Melee Island where Honey ran into Mustard and the 2 left Alola for good to head back to Mustard's home region in Galar. Now, why do I think Mustard was on Melee Island? Well, 2 of Mustard's Pokemon are not only native to the Alolan region, but also native to 10 Carat Hill on Melee Island, and that would be the pre-evolved forms of Komao and Lycanroc. Both of those Pokemon can be found on Melee Island, and both of those Pokemon can be found on 10 Carat Hill. So now that we have placed Mustard, Honey, and Plumeria on Melee Island, let's talk about what happened on that fateful day. So there are 2 small things we need to mention before continuing on with our story, and that is Plumeria's Golbat's Air Cutter and Kubfu's base HP at level 10. So as I mentioned before, Plumeria had a level 36 Golbat with the move Air Cutter. However, one thing I failed to mention earlier is that Air Cutter has a higher than average chance of landing a critical hit, something that multiplies the attack's power by 1.5. Air Cutter is a base 60 attack, but when the critical hit lands, that base 60 becomes base 90 power. Now, why do I feel the need to mention that Golbat can do 90 HP of damage in 1 attack? Well, when I received my level 10 Kubfu from Mustard on the Isle of Armor, its HP was only 32. So what happens when a level 36 Golbat manages to land a critical hit on a level 10 Kubfu? Well, that is actually the focus of our story today. So, 1 month before the events of Sun and Moon took place, Plumeria was on 10 Carat Hill with her favorite and only Pokemon, her Golbat, training against the Jangmo-Os and Machops that were level 26 on 10 Carat Hill, when she saw a small bear-like Pokemon that looked very similar to Stuffle, a Pokemon she's very familiar with. Believing this small bear-like Pokemon to be just as powerful as the Machops and Jangmo-Os that were in the area, Plumeria ordered her Golbat to use the only move it knew, a move that was in fact perfect to counter fighting-type Pokemon, Air Cutter. Unfortunately for that baby Kubfu, Golbat's Air Cutter landed a critical hit and ended that Kubfu's life. Plumeria, stricken with the grief at what her Golbat had just done, and knowing that if she went to get help, that she would be blamed for it because she was a member of Team Skull, grabbed her Golbat and ran away. Plumeria decided to either store this Golbat in its Pokeball and hide it away forever, or release it so that she could not use this Golbat to end the lives of any more Pokemon. Plumeria then decided to find a new Zubat and Salandit and decided to train them much less vigorously than her previous Golbat. Mustard, who was simply on the island trying to find new fighting-type Pokemon to join his team, having no idea what happened, started his trek up 10 Carat Hill because he had been told there were powerful fighting Pokemon on that mountain. While Mustard did find 2 Pokemon that he would eventually add to his team on that mountain, Rockruff and Jangmo-O, he also found something he never expected to find. Partway up the mountain, Mustard saw a group of Pokemon that he had never seen before. Mustard saw a small group of baby Kubfu gathered around in a circle crying over their fallen brother. Mustard then grabbed the remaining Kubfu and raced down the mountain to the nearest Pokemon Center to have them checked out to make sure that they were okay. Upon leaving the Pokemon Center with his new small family of baby Kubfu, Mustard ran into Honey, who explained to him that she was an ex-Aether Foundation employee who was on the run trying to save her type Null. Mustard then loaded up Honey with her type Null and all of his Kubfu into his boat and set sail for the Galar region. Once they had arrived to the Galar region, Honey decided it was no longer safe to keep her type Null, given that this was a Pokemon created specifically for battle, and given the fact that there were all these brand new baby Pokemon that needed to be kept safe. So Honey went to the northernmost part of the Galar region, gave her type Null to a Battle Tower employee, and instructed that employee to pass that type Null on to a powerful yet kind trainer. In the meantime, Mustard decided that he needed to go somewhere private, somewhere that Honey and all the Kubfu could be safe. So with his life savings, Mustard decided to buy a small island off the eastern coast of the Galar region where he set up the Isle of Armor. So that's it, right? End of story. Plumeria's Golbat accidentally kills a baby Kubfu, so she decides to stop using that Golbat and she runs away. For Mustard to go up 10 Carat Hill sometime later, only to stumble upon the corpse of that Kubfu and its brethren surrounding it crying. So Mustard decides to take the rest of the Kubfu along with Honey and a type Null and take them back to the Galar region where he decides to purchase his own island to keep everyone safe. Well, that sounds like a complete story to me. Gathered all the evidence, solved the mystery, figured out what happened, answered all the questions. Except one question I still couldn't figure out. What happened to that baby Kubfu? I mean, after it died, of course. What happened to it after it died? Did Mustard carry it to the graveyard? Did Amandabuzz come along and eat the remains of that baby Kubfu? Or maybe, just maybe, that baby fighting type Kubfu became the only ghost fighting type Pokemon in existence. One of the few Pokemon that we know to only be one of its species. Both the same height, both know similar moves. What if that baby Kubfu... No. Yeah, what if that baby Kubfu actually became Marshadow? Are there enough similarities there to back up that claim? I don't know. Let's look. According to the Pokemon Sun Pokedex for Marshadow, Marshadow is able to conceal itself in shadows so it never appears before humans. So its very existence was the stuff of myth. So, if Marshadow was actually a Kubfu that had gotten killed by a trainer, and I'm not saying that it is, but if that was the case, it would definitely make sense why Marshadow would not allow other humans to see it. It would make sense that it would hide in the shadows away from humans, since humans were its demise. But that's crazy, right? Marshadow can't be a Kubfu. I'll tell you what, before we jump to conclusions, let's look at the event Marshadow that's given to us, shall we? So, in 2017, residents of Japan, the United States, and Europe were gifted an event Marshadow called the Mount Tensai Marshadow. That Marshadow knew 4 moves: Spectral Thief, Close Combat, Force Palm, and Shadow Ball. But that's probably normal, right? I mean, that's right here that Marshadow learns... Oh. Marshadow doesn't learn Close Combat by level up until it reaches level 99. Oh, that's weird. But how would a level 50 Marshadow know a move that it doesn't learn until level 99? Oh, you know what? I have an idea. Let's look at the TMs that were in Sun and Moon. I bet there's a TM for Close Combat in Sun and Moon. Yeah, let's look. Huh. It says here that there is no TM for Close Combat in Sun and Moon. There's a TR in Sword and Shield, but not a TM for Close Combat in Sun and Moon. How would a level 50 Marshadow know Close Combat? You know what's strange? Is that Kubfu actually learns Close Combat at level 48. I know, it's weird, right? But Marshadow doesn't learn it till level 99. So what if that level 10 Kubfu that died had become a Marshadow and trained and trained and trained? And what if it saw another Pokemon using the move Close Combat on 10 Carat Hill or one of the other islands? And what if it remembered by the time it reached level 48 that it was supposed to know Close Combat as well? What if Marshadow learned Close Combat because as a Kubfu it would have learned Close Combat at that level? Interesting. What else do we know about Marshadow? It says here that Marshadow's signature Z move is Soul Stealing 7-star Strike. I tell you what, let's watch the Soul Stealing 7-star Strike. See if you notice what I noticed. Did you see that right there? Did you see how Marshadow does that move? Well, that's probably normal, right? A bunch of rapid strikes followed by a singular powerful strike. Like there's no way that that could be tied to Kubfu. What about Urshifu? Kubfu's evolution. Urshifu can learn the rapid strike style or the single strike style. And Marshadow, with this Z move, can do both. Rapid strikes and a single strike. I think that Marshadow knows if it wasn't for Plumeria, it would have stayed a Kubfu. And eventually it would have evolved into Urshifu, and it would have learned either single style strike or rapid style strike. But since it was never able to realize its full potential, that poor Marshadow only remembers fragments of what it was supposed to be. It remembers that it was supposed to be able to use rapid strikes in quick succession. It remembers that it was supposed to be able to use a powerful strike to fell its foes, but it will never be able to become a rapid strike style Urshifu. It will never be able to become a single strike style Urshifu. It will never be able to properly use the rapid strike style or the single strike style. But it can pay homage to what it was supposed to become by developing a Z move that incorporates both rapid strike style and single strike style. Ladies and gentlemen, I think we've done it. I think we have not only solved the mystery of where Kubfu came from, but we've also solved the mystery of where Honey came from, where that third type Null came from, and where Marshadow came from. 4 mysteries solved in one video. That is one for the record books. I am happy with that. Hello everyone. What you just saw was the end of the video. This is all meta YouTube channel stuff. So the theory part's done. If you guys want to tune out now, that's fine. So I got an opportunity to talk to Birdkeeper Toby a couple of weeks ago now. It was about a 2.5 hour conversation, and he's very, very nice, very, very smart young man, and he gave me a lot of really good advice, and he helped me work on some of my thumbnails. One of the reasons that I went with the black and gold thumbnails was because I was afraid that if my thumbnails looked like everybody else's, then I would just be seen as trying to be a copycat of like Game Theory or Birdkeeper Toby. But as it turns out, the reason everybody's thumbnails look very similar is because that's what people want to see. That's what catches the eye when you're scrolling on your phone through YouTube videos. So my thumbnails are going to be more eye-catchy from now on. The style of thumbnail I have now is what we're gonna go with moving forward. One of the other things Toby and I talked about was sound. So in this video, hopefully you'll notice that the sound is a little bit better. That's because I'm using one of these guys. It's a lapel mic, and I hope this is an improvement. Once I can afford a better mic, like maybe a boom mic or something, I'll get one of those. I'm really working with limited equipment right now. Another change is I'm going to take out the intro altogether. I probably am not going to take out the outro because I really like that design I made with the axes and everything of the Pokeball, and I want to have that somewhere. And the outro is like a second long, so I think I may keep the outro at the end of each video. But the intro is definitely going because that's just wasted time, and nobody wants to see that before each video. Another thing that Toby and I talked about is quality over quantity. So what I mean by that is if you guys go back and watch, if you have already watched my Red is a Bad Champion video, you'll notice that there was about 1.5 minutes of lost content at the beginning of the video, and that was my fault, but I was so worried that if I didn't get it out on Monday, that it wouldn't be seen because I was afraid of the YouTube algorithm, because I'm learning all this for the first time. But it's the content that I put out, I want it to be deserving of you guys to watch it. I want you to, doesn't matter if you watch it the day it goes live or if you watch it 6 months or 6 years after it goes live. When you guys see one of my videos, I want you to want to go to my channel and subscribe. And putting out half-finished videos like that one was not a good idea. So I'm always evolving, always improving, always trying to make the channel better.
and I will continue to do that. I will continue to try to make the channel better. I'm going to try to shoot for videos every Monday, but this video, if it had gone live on Monday, it wouldn't have had any of the Marshadow stuff in it. The research was done, just the recording and the editing wasn't done. So that's what I mean is I'd rather take a few extra days to put out a complete video rather than put out a half-finished video on Monday. So that's what I mean. As I'd rather put out a complete video 2 or 3 days after. I'd rather put out a complete video on Tuesday or Wednesday or Thursday in this case, I think, rather than put out a half-finished video on Monday. So I'm always working, always trying to make these videos better. If you guys go back and watch my first live video versus now, I've been making these YouTube videos for about 6 months now. I did take a month off, just for mental health reasons. But that's one thing that's consistent is I'm trying to make these videos better each and every week. So if you guys will give me the opportunity to get better, hopefully I will earn your subscription soon if I haven't already. So yeah, there's a lot of ums and uhs in there. I'm not very good at this yet, but I'm hoping to get there. I hope you guys have a fantastic week, and I will see you with my next upload.